Quick recap, what we have seen yesterday. We have seen Azure Load Balancer. We have two types of load balancer, internal load balancer and external load balancer. Internal load balancer, we call it private load balancer, or you can simply say that with the private IP in front end side. That is called as a internal load balancer. External load balancer will be facing publicly, right? So it will have a public IP. So if I have a public IP here, this IL load balancer will call a public load balancer. If I'm having a private IP here, right? So this will be called internal load balancer. Okay. Now, apart from that, we have seen this area which I'm right now showing you. This area is called a front end, front end IP, right? FE, front end. So front end is important because all the hits will comes to here, front end IP. Whatever it's public or private, it doesn't matter, right? Now, next thing is important is for me is my backend pool. I can have multiple backend pool, right? The pool one, pool two, I can have number of various systems, various machines, or I can have a similar machine, but for the different purpose. So we have yesterday VM1 and VM2. We have deployed two virtual machines, and this is my pool will be listening on port 80, right? This pool, BG pool, I'm planning to listen on port 80, and this backend pool, I'm planning to listen on port 8080, right? Here also I'm having some machines. VM1. All right. The, the thing is that if I just, yes, well, the last thing on here backend pool, the backend pool always a private IP, always a private IP, right? And also attached to some VNet. So once you attach the VNet, the same VNet will be for the different pools. You cannot have multiple VNets for different pools. So once you attach for pool one we have attached VNet ABC, then the pool two should be from that same VNet. Otherwise, you have to deploy a new load balancer. Make sense, guys? So what we have seen front-end IP, back-end pool, and then after that, what we have seen that we have called health check. Why we have required a health check, right? Health probe or health check, whatever you can say that. Health probe or health check. Why we required? So if we are receiving a traffic, right? A traffic will be get distributed among the various machines. So if this machine is not healthy, if you send a traffic, that request will become stale or this request become error, right? So we system or what a load balancer do that it will keep checking the health of that machines. How do we check? We can check on some TCP port. All right, TCP port means that any port which is listening, I can check it on that part, or I can check it on HTTP port. So I can check that website is responding. Then I will say that okay, my website is running, my machine is running. Then finally, what we have load balancer rule. We have load balancer rule. So we can have multiple front-end IPs, right? So which front-end IP will go to which backend rule, backend pool, that will be decided on load balancer rule, right? So what load balancer rule do that? It do two things. First item, it do NATing, network address translation. The front-end public IP or private IP will get converted to backend pool some IP, some machine's IP. That is called NATing. Sometimes we do the patting also. It is not necessary, but sometimes we do the patting. Port address translations, right? So here I'm listening on port 80. If I'm listening on port 80, if I go from front end to back end this pool, so I'm just doing only NATing. But if I'm going to this pool, so I'll be doing the NATing plus patting. Make sense, guys? Any questions on quick recap? Any question on quick recap, guys? No? Perfect. 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 Perfect, guys. All right. So we will see today practically what we have done yesterday. We have deployed two machines. We have deployed two machines. Let me see that. Okay. This is stop state. Let me start. All right. After deploying two machines, both are in the same VNet. One important thing which need to be considered logically, that those machine which is in the pool should be either availability set or availability zone. Why we required it? Because if Microsoft takes downtime, we want to build a high availability system. If Microsoft takes a downtime of physical server and both machine was deployed in a same box, then both machines will be down. So there is no use case of deploying the high availability different distributing workloads, right? So we will make sure that we'll be having the high availability, either availability set or availability zone. So I have deployed this machine in high availability, right? Then after that, I'll deploy a load balancer. So load balancer which I use is that external load balancer. How do we define that which is external, which is internal? So when I creating load balancer, here we define that is it internal or external, right? It's a public means external and it's internal means private load balancer, right? There's a two different SKUs, store keeping, that have a basic is a free of cost, standard will be cost you something. All right. So once we deployed, while deployment we have provided public IP, one public IP. Now I have after deployment I can provide multiple public IPs in the front end section. So I have provided another public IP. Then I have created a backend pool. This is one backend pool and this is another backend pool. Fortunately, I don't have deploy machines. I have taken up same machines in the both the pools, but both will be function different, right? I have help rope created. I'm just checking 3389. So RDP port. So if RDP response, I consider that, okay, my machine is listening. Then finally, important is that I have created a rule. For Flipkart, I have created, let me change to 8080. For Flipkart, I am listening on port 8080 and for eBay, I'm listening on port 80 only. So here I'm doing the natting in the rules and also doing the patting. Right? Port also getting changed. All right. So let's go and install virtual machine, log into virtual machine. I have logged into virtual machine. I have installed, just a minute, guys. All right, guys. So what I have done, I have taken a one first virtual machine. I have installed IS on top of that. So let me take another virtual machine, second one, and installed IS. All right. One important thing I want to show you that if you see that the public IP, right, this public IP and load balancer public IP, since I have added in the backend pool, if you see that this public IP for first one and this public IP is same. So can I take RDP of that? Let's try out. And I'm pretty sure that the public IP will not work for taking this RDP. I'm trying to reach out this server and it will be going to fail. It is not responding. The actual public IP of virtual machine is you can find out at networking NIC card level, this one. So guys, why this is happening? Because Microsoft thinks that you're using load balancer, so you will having your machine public IP will get different and you will not have a public IP on your system. So what Microsoft is thinking, but we require to configure the machine, so we are using public IP. So generally in the corporate, we don't use public IP on the machines. So that's why Microsoft is providing the load balancer public IP. All right. Now I'm taking this second machine, installing IIS here. All right. Let's add a feature. I am installing IIS here. IIS web server. All right. Let it install web server and other machine, which is I think this one. It's already have installed a web server. If I just go localhost, if I type it here, localhost, which means that I am requesting on port 80 and I can see this page. I want to do little bit changes in this page. So what I'll do that I'll go to IIS service, go to IIS manager, go to website, right, just open, expand it, sites, the default page. You can see that default page is listening on port 80, right? I can have changes. Where is my page? Where is my basic page? Where? Here. No, I want to go to explore. Yes, explorer. Where is my page? I just want to see that where is my page. So where my page is here. And if I just open it, so there is some Microsoft text is there. And on top of that, I just putting one line that H1 uh, port 80 VM1. Okay, just putting the text so we can come to know that which is calling, which page is calling. All right, now I'll just save it. And after that, when we have the local host, again localhost, you can simply, okay, why I cannot see that H1, sorry. Okay, okay, this is full size image. So what I'll do that I'll change the page. Let me change the page. I'll make it new file here called where is notepad text document index dot index and just add here simply h1 port 80. Okay, hopefully this time this page should be, wait, let me restart. Still getting old page, why mm, index.html, that should be my page name. Let it move. Wait guys, just a moment, let me set up this. I'll keep it on desktop for temporary. Now let me see that website page. Yep, I can see that page is port 80 VM1. Now another website I'm planning to run in this that I'll add another website. This site will be like flipkart.com, and that website I'm planning to run on port 8080, and the path for this website, I'll just keep it in same page, same area, public, www.root, create another folder, Flipkart. Okay, and website name is okay. Okay, I have done a new website. Now let me create a new page here quickly. It is just all testing, guys. You don't require to do that. I just want to show the proof of concept. So that's why I'm doing. Mm, VM1 port 8080, and I'll say that H1. Okay, let's hope this website should be running. Can you see that? This is localhost port 8080 and the virtual machine one. And another website which we are running here in the same, which is a port 80. And here you can see that there's nothing is mentioned. Any doubt what I have done, guys, for this virtual machine? Any doubt? Perfect, perfect. So I simply set that two website in the IS. One will be listing on port 80, one will be listing on port 8080, and this is will be my port 8080. I just set the default pages. That's it. Now same thing I require to do on another machine. I believe that this is done. So I'll go on IS, go to IS Manager, expand it, sites, default sites. Okay, go to Explorer, move, delete these websites, create an index page. Come on. Okay. Index.html. Port 80 VM2. Alright, let's see that what website is showing me in page. Alright, can you see that? This is VM2 running on port 80. Now again, I'll have another website. I'll add a new website here. This will be called Flipkart website running on port 8080. Okay, the path, I'll just set the path. Okay, quickly doing the changes. Okay, just close the firewall. So we should not require to put a rules for the firewall rules. And also close the enhance I, so it should not prompt the I security part. Now let's see that if I run this website, I see the page 20, 8080, and if I go to run this another site in same website, so this should be showing me that port 80. Yep, port 80, port 80. Alright, all set. Both virtual machines are running on port 80 and 8080, and inside firewalls is closed. Let me minimize. Now we have created rules. We have created rules on load balancer. Already have we have done. Let's dive with those rules. So I'll be just trying that rules here. I'm getting port 80D. Why I'm getting port 80D for this? The front end IP FE1. Let's see that load balancer rule 1. So front end IP, I believe that FE1 I have attached to this one. Where is that? Yep. FE1 is attached to port which is I'm translating from 8080. And another front end IP, I have this one 180. If I run this one, same server is providing me port 80. So can you see that, guys? Different same machines running a two websites. One is running on port 80 and this is running on port 80D. But you don't see here 8080 mentioned here because once you put hit here with 80, the 80 will get converted in backend with 8080. Are you good with this? What I have explained you or what we have done practically? Are you good with that? Any questions here? Okay, no questions. Mahesh, did you understand? Is it clear? Kiran, yes means that clear or you have a question? Okay, and Ravinder, finally you. It's clear. Perfect, guys. So this is how load balancer works. Or now, if I just refresh the page, I might be getting VM1 multiple times, but sometimes it will show me the VM2 and sometimes it will show me VM1. It depends on server's availability. So we cannot test right now because it is there is no workload, so it's not distributing workload. It's directly sending workload. So let me refresh it quickly, refresh multiple times. All right. What I'll do that I'll just stop the VM1, VM2, and let's see that both the hits are going on VM2. So I'll just stop the VM2 and let's see that is it sending the traffic to VM1 or not. So let me stop the VM2. All right. I have stopped the VM2. Now once VM2 is stopped, I believe it's stopped deallocating. Now if I refresh the page, this one should be give me the VM1. This one also should be reflect to VM1. Make sense, guys? This is what load balancer is working right now. You can check it out. Okay, load balancer is working. One machine is not responding, so it's going to another server. All right, so this is how load balancer works. We have two pools based on rules. What we have defined here, the front end one is goes to this, front end two goes to this, right? In the front end 1, we have port 8080 and front end 2, we have port 80. All right. Now, I have given example for the public load balancer so we can see that. But what if you want to deploy the internal load balancer? It is pretty simple. It's the same as is what we have done for the external load balancer. Only the difference will be that rather than choosing ILB, internal load balancer, rather than choosing central US, rather than choosing public load balancer, I'll choose the internal load balancer. Now I have to define here that what is my front-end IP. This time front-end IP will be belong to some subnet, belong to some VNet. So by automatically it's have taken up my subnet VNet 1 because that region have only one VNet. If I have multiple VNet, multiple VNets, it will ask me that which VNet you want to deploy. So I'll say that VNet 1, this one, and do you want to keep it zone redundancy? Yes. And I'll say that internal FE, right? And now in the backend pool, I can have add my backend pool. Same way. That's again giving me problem last time also. Okay, I need to apply the no public IP. So let's remove the public IP because we don't require public IP, right? Why we require public IP on a card? Because we are using internal public internal load balancer. I'll just deassociate and let's see again. Because all configuration I already have done, so I don't require my public IP. Those connection doesn't require. Right. Let me start this machine. Go back. And after creating, removing public IP, hopefully this time I can see machines, right? I can see that bg pool 1 internal. I can add machines. Come on. So this is what we already have done. Okay, let me refresh it. Virtual machine has a public IP. Why it's saying the virtual machine has a public IP? Guys, can anyone knows that? Can anyone tell me that why it's saying that virtual machine have public IP? I have removed the public IPs from the network card. There is no NIC card public IP, but still I can see the public IP which is coming from the load balancer, external load balancer. If I delete the external load balancer, then I can have attached those resource. So let me delete this. Then we'll come back here and see that why can I add these machines or not. See, now I can add it. There's no nodes here. I can add those machines in the backend pool. Then same way we have to provide a load balancer rule. Then we have to provide that's it. We have to provide a load balancer rule. So any questions guys here? No questions on the internal load balancer. Any questions guys? Nope. Perfect. All right. Now I have deleted my load balancer. So far what we have done, we are sending the traffic either this machine or this machine. Let's assume I'll have only one load balancer pool. I have only one load balancer pool. Okay. So when I'm sending a traffic, I have only one rule. I am sending traffic from public IP. So the load balancer either sending a traffic to this machine and this machine. That is random. I cannot control on this part, right? So this rules is called load balancer rule because it's distributing loads among the machines. There could be more machines, right? So it could be distributing a traffic either one point you getting landed this machine, sometimes you get it landed this machine, sometimes you get landed this machine, sometimes you get landed this machine. There is a random landing on the virtual machine. You cannot control or when you create a load balancer rule. It is one to many connections. One to many connections, right? One to many connections. But sometimes what happened that sometimes, not usually, or people will hardly use. Some people wants to have connectivity to specific these machines. So let's say that if I want to take RDP of this machine, right? How do I take RDP? If I put public IP, public IP, and go for 3389, it can provide me this RDP, this RDP, this RDP, this RDP. The random RDP will I'll get it. So I'll not able to find out which machine I'm getting landing. Right? I wanted to go on specific machine, this one. So when I say that this public IP and put 5000 rule for 5000 port. So this should get landed on this RDP and this might be listening on 3389. And if I say that I want to have a public IP, same public IP. I'm not changing public IP. All public IP are same. I'm just changing the port 5001, right? 5001. This will be allow me to take access of this machine RDP. Both are listening on 3389, but because of my source port get changed, it's our tie up with that source port. So it's one-to-one mapping happening here. It is not one to many, it's one-to-one mapping here. So this is called NAT rule. This is called NAT rule. So when we deploy load balancer, so let me deploy quickly load balancer. Last time what we have taken up ELB. I just created new public IP or I can use existing one. I can use existing one. Let's say that I'll use it this one, existing one, because this is free right now. Right? This IP will be just using that. In the backend pool, last time I have created, wait, what I have taken here, standard. Guys, why this is not reflecting here? Okay, what I have taken up, load balancer name, standard, basic doesn't matter. Now public load balancer, regional. Now I am adding a front end rule FE1 and attaching existing public IP. Now I'm creating a backend pool. I'll say that BG pool 1 associating with this VNet associating to public IP machines. I'm attaching to this machines, two machines in backend, add. Now inbound rule, last time what we have done, we have created load balancer rule. This time we are creating inbound NAT rule. Inbound NAT rule will help me NAT1 front-end IP, this is front-end IP, and I say that I want to take RDP, right? So if someone comes, the port, okay, yeah, someone comes for the port 889, it will float my connection to different IPs. So where is that? Target machines. So I'll just say that 3389 will be my target port. Okay. So what I'm doing right now, if someone's put this public IP along with this 5000 port, it will land on this machine, this NIC card with 3389 rules, right? This is one rule I have been added. Come on. Yep, here. Second rule, I'll say that someone come with this public IP, all right? I want to take RDP and says that port number 3000. So this should goes to port number 2, should goes to virtual machine 2, and this machine will goes to my 3389, right? This is target one. So what will happen on front end side? If someone push 5001, it will go to virtual machine 1 for RDP port. If they put the 3000, it will go to virtual machine 2 for the RDP. This is what I'm creating one-to-one mapping, one-to-one mapping. Rather than using here 5001, I have to use a 3000. Now I just create a load balancer. Okay. Any questions here what I have done, guys? Any questions? Okay, it's deployed. We can see in backend. No question. Perfect. So I'll take a front-end IP. If I just run this for front-end IP on incognito mode, let me close this one. There's a website still running on my backend. But if I run this, I won't see anything because I haven't created load balancer rule for port 80. But the same IP, if I just put it 40.86.16.175 along with only this much IP, right? I'm not putting any port here. So it's tried to reach and fails because nobody is responding over there. Nobody is responding on the 3389. Either my front end is listening on 5000 or it's listening on 3000. So let me change port to 5000. Once I put it for 5000, it's immediately respond to my machine. And this time this machine should be Flipkart VM1. Can you see that? Flipkart VM1, Web1. And the same machine, right? And same remote connection, I'll take this same IP 40 40.86.16.117 40.86.16.175 colon 3000. So I'll get it machine which will be Flipkart 2. Can you see that? Flipkart 2. Same IP, both are running 3389, but the front end is get changed. You can simply see that simple same IP, the port is changed. Make sense, guys? And this is virtual machine. My host name will be, I'll just show you that. Host name, web 1. And this will be my definitely web 2. Web 2. Same public IP. So this kind of rules is called NAT rules. And earlier, which we have done one to many, that is called load balancer rule. So final takeaway, if it's a load balancer rule, if load balancer rule, I can have natting, I can have patting, both I can have it, right? But the connection will be my one to many, one to many in pool, right? If I go for the NAT rule, the NAT rule is one of a service which I'll just show you right away. You can do natting, definitely, and also you can do the patting. Port address we have changed so 5000 to 8389, but this will be one to one in the pool, right? Where I can see that natting and patting rule. If I go to load balancer, here last time we have seen load balancer rule. This time it's inbound NAT rule. All right. This NAT rule doesn't require health check. I don't have health check. Load balancer rule is required health check. Why is required? Because it's randomly sending the data. This is one to one, so I don't want to check it out whether it's stop or start. Doesn't matter. That's it all about load balancer, guys. We have covered load balancer. If you have any questions, so do let me know. Let's quickly walk through the slide. What we have. We have two types of load balancer: internal, external load balancer. Uh, that's it. This is example of my internal load balancer, which is having the VNet. This blue line is my VNet. I am belong to some subnet, right? And it is will be internal communication. All right. Why we use an internal load balancer? Why we use? Okay, there's some core doubts. Yep, sure. Please go through that. If you doubts, please let me know. We can discuss tomorrow also. Why we use internal load balancer? Why we use external load balancer? ILB versus ELB. This is a pretty simple example. So when you're getting a traffic from internet, you will use external load balancer, which is get landed on your web tier. From website, you want to send your data to database or some other business unit, right? So it's landed on different webs, different location, and you want to have this also redundancy. So you are deployed multiple database sites, right? So you will have the internal load balancer. All traffic will goes to internal load balancer, then again it will get distributed. All right. So this is how a load balancer works and the use case of load balancers. All right, guys. So we'll break today and see you tomorrow. I'll send you a recording. Go to the recording again. If you have any doubt, do the practice. If you don't do the practice, you will forget. Right? Take care. Have a nice day.